All right, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Testing 1, 2, 3. Type a 3 in the chat if you can hear me and see my screen, please. Type a 3 in the chat if you can hear me and see my screen. All right. Thank you, Chris and Michael and Gene, Layton. How's everybody doing today? Give me one moment here. I'm going to swap out my screen and switch over to another monitor. I'll be back here in just about 30 seconds or so. So go ahead and get cozy and relax. Get you something to drink, cocktail, hot, warm glass of milk, whatever you're drinking today. I'll be back in about 30 to 45 seconds. All right, folks, I am back. Let's do another quick audio visual here. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We're about 2 minutes past the hour, so I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Let's do another audio visual check if we're all good to go, and we'll go ahead and kick this presentation off. All right, Chris is ready for countdown, says we're good to go. Can't see my screen. You should be reading Mechanical Done For You Strategy, Any Market, Any Time Frame. If you are able to see that slide, you are in the right presentation. So welcome. My name is Silas Peters. I'm the founder and head trader of Seasonal Swing Trader. Appreciate you joining me this evening. Hope everybody had a nice, fun, and safe Memorial Day weekend if you were celebrating out there. I am in LA or Lower Alabama on the Gulf Coast, not LA as in Los Angeles, but in Lower Alabama. Was able to get down to the beach for a couple of days. It was absolutely packed. Not really much social distancing going on anywhere, but we're not going to talk about that. So anyway, I'm very pleased to be here. This is one of my favorite topics, if not my favorite topic, because it's something I actually use on a day-to-day basis. Been using it for several years. Very excited to show you this strategy, and I truly think that you can begin to start using it immediately after the presentation. Stick around. I encourage you to ask all the questions you want. I'm not ignoring anybody's questions on purpose. I want to make sure we get through the presentation, the meat, actually show you the strategy, teach you the strategy, and then at the end, I'll answer all of your questions. We'll actually dive into the live market, see how using this strategy did today, especially with this huge move we had. And we'll take your tickers and symbols and all that good stuff. So if that sounds fair, we're going to go ahead and get started here. And Mike, sign up. You can email me at support@seasonalswingtrader, support@seasonalswingtrader.com. We'll fix you up. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. We'll be together for about 60 minutes or so. Again, I want to make sure we get through the presentation. So ask all the questions. I will answer every single one of them as we get through the end of this. So let's go ahead and get started. The risk disclaimer. Must always start with the risk disclaimer as required by our regulatory governing bodies and our attorneys. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. There is substantial risk of loss associated with trading. Only risk capitalists should be used to trade. You can lose money in trading. So in short, don't trade with your milk money, your rent money, child's educational funds. You can lose money in trading. Where is everybody from? While you are reading the rest of this, tell me where everybody's from. I'd like to see where everybody is from a global perspective. As I told you, I am in South Alabama on the Gulf Coast. We've got the former USA, Boise, South Wells, Philippines, welcome. Mississippi, we're in Mississippi. Chet, Arkansas, Atlanta, Tampa, a bunch of everybody in the South, Pennsylvania, Ontario, here we go. Washington State, Wichita, Kansas, Boise, Montreal, London, UK. Awesome. I don't even know what time it is in some of these parts of the world, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure it's early morning, late for some, maybe middle of the day for others. So let's get right to it. Introduce myself once again. My name is Silas Peters. I am the founder and head trader of Seasonal Swing Trader. This is me standing in front of my alma mater at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. There are my two beautiful daughters and some other snapshots of us just kind of hanging out here in the Corona conundrum. Quarantine status. You see my two girls made themselves some homemade masks. I think that was before you could even find one. I don't even know if they're still available. And then us just kind of hanging out and kicking it there on the bay, doing some kayaking, trying to get some fresh air. 3 days after I graduated, I sold my car, I packed up my belongings, and I drove north. I drove straight north to the great city of Chicago, the old Windy City. And it's here where I cut my teeth in the commodity markets working at the Chicago Board of Trade, and here where I was bitten by the trading bug and never really looked back. So while there, I helped run a global trading desk, placing and managing books of trades across the Americas, Asian, European sessions, primarily working with large block order flow for hedge funds, banks, CTAs, large four spec traders, and the like. Also been a part of building and managing several futures and equity brokerage firms, managing operations, trading, back office sales, and support. Also worked as a private family office investment consultant. I hold or have held these various futures and securities licenses. And then in 2016, I launched Seasonal Swing Trader. But it wasn't always easy. In fact, there was a learning curve, several obstacles and hurdles on the path to where I am today. First step was obviously learning. School does not teach real life experience in the markets. In the beginning, I made money. In fact, I made a substantial amount of money. Was I lucky? I like to not think that I was, but ignorance and greed cost me my profits. I blew up an account and I blew up a few others in what I like to call revenge trading. I'm sure some of you can attest to that. Finally went back to my roots, worked my process, settled down, and found overall consistency. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. Does anybody's trading desk look like this? Does anybody's desk look like this? I hope it doesn't. This is actually not my desk. This is a poor attempt at humor. Found this on the internet, thought it was funny at the time because I feel like it is the perception of what those on the outside looking in at us traders think this is what it is, that we're stuffed in a basement surrounded by dozens of monitors, got blinking lights and lines and numbers flying all over the place, but that absolutely does not have to be the case. My desk did look like this in Chicago for obvious reasons, but I've since pared back to a handful of monitors for quotes, charting, order entry, and the internet for day-to-day operations. But we don't need this. The point is we're going to keep things simple. And that leads us to our next slide here, paralysis analysis. Who here has been a victim of paralysis analysis or maybe is a victim? I'm raising my digital hand here. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Per Wikipedia, it's the state of overanalyzing or overthinking a situation so that a decision or action is never taken, in effect paralyzing the outcome. So who here has been a victim? A lot of people are saying, yeah, absolutely, still am. And you know, how many times have we gone and, you know, done all the analysis we thought we possibly could, you know, checked the I's, crossed the T's, went to our order platform, get ready to pull the trigger, and then all of a sudden something pops up, this line crossed that, or something contradicts what you're about to do. It's very painful to be in that situation, and hopefully today will help rectify the paralysis analysis demons, and we can move forward with some simplicity. So what do you trade? I like to see who I'm talking to. What markets do you trade? You trade stocks, options, futures, Forex, cryptocurrency, any or all of the above. I trade stocks, options, futures, and Forex on an active basis. Do not trade crypto on an active basis. I do have accounts in cryptocurrency, if you will, across the internet. Don't even know how to get into half the dang things, but I view it more as a lottery ticket. We've got all but crypto, same thing, Mart, stocks and options, weekly options, futures, and Forex, ETFs, SPX, SPY, stocks, options, futures only. Cool. So Pretty nice, wide, diverse crew here. And that's great because what I'm going to share with you today works in all those markets. It's highly accurate, profitable, works in all time frames, and it's 99% mechanical. Most importantly, it is simple. So we're not here to teach rocket surgery. I have a promise for you. So my agenda and promise to you today is we're going to learn a simple mechanical setup that is repeatable regardless of the market or time frame. So at some point during the presentation, I'm going to stop and ask, have I fulfilled my promise? And I hope to see a lot of yeses. Speaking of promises, if you're here today, you may have seen or read something about the $10,000 trade promise. Full disclaimer, I'm not going to promise you anything in trading or in life, but these were trade setups that we talked about in multiple free presentations, such as this one, about potential $10,000 trade moves. So here you can see a setup in crude oil on the left, RBOB unlead on the right. We also had another one in natural gas. And we talked about a very particular setup that was pending that had the potential to move $10,000 plus. And you know what? They went on, triggered, and went on $10,000 plus. We also talked about these so-called sleeper markets here in coffee and orange juice. You can see here from a 5, 15, and 30-year historical price perspective, the markets tended to bottom out at that time of the year. Did we go out and get long these markets? Did we go buy coffee, go buy OJ, buy call options, call spreads, sell put spreads? No, we said, wait, sit on your hands, wait patiently for a very specific setup and pattern to occur, one that you're about to learn here momentarily. And that's what happened. They triggered, it occurred, they were realized, and they went on and met their $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 per contract price objective. We also talked about markets in corn, beans, and wheat, this being corn and beans. You can see it from a 5, 15, and 30-year historical price perspective. The markets tended to bottom out at this time of the year. That's exactly what they were doing. The market participants were being lulled to sleep due to favorable weather out in the Midwest. And we said, wait patiently. Do not go get long corn. Do not go get long beans. Wait for the pattern and setup to occur. And that's what happened. They went on and triggered and met their $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 per contract price objective. Now, this session is not all about futures or commodities. These are just markets that we talked about in multiple free presentations. And I will show you some potential big moving setups here at the end that actually went on and materialized. So who here is ready to see the setup responsible for these recent trades? These are very recent trades we've taken here in the last month. You see over here on the left, E-mini S&P, 800 points plus. Here in the middle, Cocoa, 160 points. Aussie Kiwi, 300 pips. And then Facebook on the right, two $20 trade setups or $40. So who here is ready to see the setup? All right, of course you are, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here. It is, drum roll please, the 1, 2, 3 pattern, also known as the 1, 2, 3 top or 1, 2, 3 bottom. So who here is familiar with the 1, 2, 3 top or 1, 2, 3 bottom? A lot of you are. A lot of yeses, handful of no's. I did invent it. It's one of the most fundamental technical patterns in the textbooks, Technical Analysis 101. But highly, and I mean highly, overlooked by most traders. So let's get right to the juicy stuff. The setup is price action based. The pattern is comprised of a low and then a higher high and a higher low and a break of the higher high in the instance that we're going long. Inverse of short. Anticipates a change in the trend from up to down on a break below the 2 or B point. Anticipates a change in trend from down to up on a break above the 2 or B point. The strategy, it usually occurs at the end of trends and swings, can be an indication of a change in trend, can also be found within a trading range. So you may argue that, hey, this is a reversal strategy or a counter trend strategy? And in essence it is, but we're going to talk about ways to filter these out to put the odds even further in your favor. I will stress that it works extremely well when the pattern sets up at important or significant areas of support resistance. Other high probability technical patterns such as head and shoulders tops and bottoms, double tops, double bottoms, and more. So let's take a look at the basic mechanics. So the 1, 2, 3 top strategy, this could be Any market. This could be Apple. This could be the Australian dollar. Could be ExxonMobil. Doesn't really matter. We're learning the basic principles here. So point one, as you can see on this chart, is the highest peak when we come into resistance. So once we find resistance and find this peak and pull back, that gives us our established number one. Now the market trades lower, and once we stop making these lower highs and pull back up, we get an established number two. Market trades higher, pulls back, giving us established number three. Now the market could have retraced up to here, or even up to here, as long as we don't take out the number one high. We have a 1, 2, 3 top pattern. Now on a 1, 2, 3 top, we know we're looking to get short on breaks or closes below the number two, which you see we got that here. So look at the 1, 2, 3 bottom pattern. Same rules apply, but only in inverse. So here the market trades lower, trades lower, trades lower, finds a bottom or support, trades higher, giving us an established number one. Market trades higher, pulls back, giving us an established number two. As we trade lower and stop making these higher lows and pull up, we get a number three. 1, 2, 3. Again, here the market could have traded down here, down here, down here, as long as we don't take out the number one low, and we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom. Now on a 1, 2, 3 bottom, we know that we're looking to get long on breaks or closes above the number two. We don't know what happens in this example, but we know that's where we would be looking to get long. All right, so let's look at some chart examples. Let's start with the 1, 2, 3 top. This is a daily chart of the Aussie dollar, the Australian dollar. If you don't trade futures, you could trade the ETF, which is FXA, that tracks the Aussie. Or if you don't trade futures or ETFs, you could trade the Aussie US in the Forex market. Now, the next couple examples, we're looking at daily charts, and we're looking for 52-week highs or 52-week lows to find our number one point. Now, we don't have to use a 52-week high or 52-week low. That's nothing set in stone, but it's just a guideline. We'll talk about later on how you can dial that in tighter, say every 6 months, every 90 days, to find even more opportunities. So here we have the daily chart of the Aussie. You'll see a red circle, this red number one circle. Why is this the number one? Because it's a 52-week high. Okay, market trades lower, pulls back, giving us a 1, 2. We only retrace higher by about 4 bars or so, so it's a little bit more shallow, but it's a valid 1, 2, 3. Again, the market could have traded up here, or up here, as long as we don't take out the one. We have a 1, 2, 3. Now 1, 2, 3 top, again, we're looking to get short on breaks or closes below the number two, and that's what we get. So you know immediately what the setup is. Here's the 1, 2, 3 top, but what about the other important parts of the recipe? Where's my risk? Where's my where my limit orders? Where am I taking profits? All very important questions that we need to answer. So our initial risk is always above the high of the number one. That's our starting point. Our initial target is the distance between the high of the one measured to the low of the two. So we measure from here to here and then measure down. It's about 225 ticks or $2,200 per contract. So yes, initially, right off the bat, it's a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. We'll talk about ways later how you can trail your stop, manage your positions, but initial risk is above the high of the one. And as we start breaking down and moving into our favor, we can then quickly adjust our stops to the next logical area. What is jumping out at you? The next logical stop adjustment would be from here to here, right here at the next area of resistance. So we've quickly been able to adjust our risk or cut our risk in half or up to 60-70%. So look at the 1, 2, 3 top on Walmart, WMT, again, a daily chart. This is a new number one high because it's a 52-week high. We have a 1, 2, 3. We know days in advance what most traders struggle with. 99% of traders struggle with. They have to guess, where's our risk? Where am I taking profits? Where's my entry? We know that days in advance. We know with the 1, 2, 3 top, we're looking to get short on breaks or closes below the number two. We know our initial risk is above the high of the one, and we know our initial target is the distance between the high of the one and the low of the two, measured down about 5 bucks in this example. Let's look at the 1, 2, 3 bottom example. Now this is a 15-minute chart of the E-mini S&P. So on an intraday chart, whether it's a tick, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, so on, we're obviously not going to be looking for 52-week highs or 52-week lows. That wouldn't make much sense. So on an intraday chart, we're looking for what's called session lows or session highs. How do we define session lows or session highs? Well, if you're not familiar with futures or Forex, they trade virtually around the clock. They open up on Sunday evenings at 5 p.m. Central, trade into the Asian session, into the European session, into the New York session, shut down for about an hour at the end of the day, reopen, rinse and repeat until Friday afternoon. So wherever you start your trading day, whether it's the European session, 6 a.m., which is when I start my day, could be the 9:30 cash open, could be the lunch hour, could be the last hour of the day. Doesn't matter, you're looking for new session highs or new session lows. So here on this chart of the E-mini S&P, we have a session low as indicated by the red #1 circle. Market trades up, pulls back, giving so 1, 2, 3. Now aggressive traders could consider getting long on the initial break of the #2. So you're working a buy stop, maybe a tick or two above the #2 high. You're triggered into the trade. So a couple of alternative entry methods that I prefer is to either A, wait for the market to come back and retest the breakout area, which we did here, or wait for the market to come down and hook back up above the #2. So we broke down, came back up and hooked back. So utilizing that entry method, one of two things are going to happen. One, you're going to miss out on some potentially profitable trades. Sometimes the market will pop up above the #2, zip up the profit target, leave you in the dust. No worries, no need to get your feelings hurt. There's plenty of other markets and other time frames to look at. But what is it also going to do? It's also going to keep you out of potential false breakouts or potential losing trades. Sometimes market will pop up and then roll back over and stop you out. So I like to wait for the retest or hook back up for that additional confirmation. Let's look at the 1, 2, 3 bottom here on Apple. This is a weekly chart of Apple. Hell of a way to catch some longer term position type moves here. We have a 1, 2, 3 multi-week low, also have a high probability double bottom. Market breaks above the #2 here on this large bullish candle, trades sideways for a few weeks, and then comes back down, retests the #2 breakout area and or hooks back above. That's our confirmation to get long Apple. How? Buy Apple stock, buy call options, call spreads, sell it out of the money put spreads, whatever your flavor or style of trading may be. Now let's look at some failed trades. Don't start throwing tomatoes and banana peels. They don't all work, but your big boys and girls, you already know that nothing is guaranteed in life or in trading. There is no holy grail, but this was a failed trade or a losing trade set up in the S&P. I probably took this in my live account. 5-minute S&P chart. Market's gotten a little vertical here. We have a trend line break. New session high, 1, 2, 3. You're getting short on the initial breakout here below the #2. If you exercise or if you wait for the alternative hook method, wait for the market to come back and down, and you're profitable by maybe 1 or 2 points, and then it reverses. So if you've exercised any type of money management here, you're stopped out at the next area of resistance above the high of the 3, or if you didn't do anything, you're stopped out above the high of the 1 here, stopped out right here. But notice what else do we get? We get a new high. This high is greater than that high, so we start a new count. 1, 2, 3, break down below the #2, get a retest, and your ends up being a profitable trade. And this is what I like to show this slide. This is just a no trigger trade or avoided trade. It's neither good, bad, nor ugly. And I'm going to show you here in a second why I like when this happens. So what do we have going on here? So here we have a 1, 2, 3. We know that we're looking to get long on breaks or closes above the #2, but the market breaks down, closes below the #1, and we start to count over. Here we have a 1, 2, 3. We know we're looking to get long on breaks above the #2. Market breaks down, takes out the #1 low. We start to count over. 1, 2, 3. Finally are able to get long on this last attempt. Now, so what is likely happening here? You get a gold star on your crown if you can guess what's going on. What's going on? So we have new lows, new lows, new lows on the price action. but we're likely having some type of divergence. So whatever your favorite momentum oscillator is, maybe it's RSI, stochastics, MACD, doesn't really matter. We're likely having divergence. So new lows, new lows, new lows, but we're likely making higher lows, or i.e. no lower lows on that oscillator. That's what we call divergence. And that's just one of these added things that we like to put into the mix to help increase the odds. 1, 2, 3 pattern trade management. Again, confirmation of entries on a break above the 2 or B point for a long, or a close below the 2 or B point for a short. Exit strategies. If you're only trading one lot, whether it's one share of stock, one option contract, one futures contract, one Forex pair, I would say strive to go for the initial distance between the 1 and 2. It's uncanny how more often than not it will go tag that almost to a tick and then reverse. But if you get to a point where you can trade multiple contracts, multiple shares, where we all want to be and have the flexibility to scale in and out, then I would say that's where you need to take a third off, or half, or 2/3, however you manage your positions at that distance between the 1 and 2. And then from there, how you manage your position is ultimately up to you. Nobody can tell you how you should manage the rest of your trade or your position. We're all different, but I like to use good old-fashioned support and resistance levels, trend line analysis, but they really come a dime a dozen. You know, Fibonacci, moving averages, Parsar. You have to find out what ultimately works best for you in your situation. So I've showed you that this setup works in any market, whether you trade pips and Forex, Pepsi stock, pot, potash or pot stocks, pork bellies, or the Polish zloty. Also in any time frame, whether you're you trade on tick charts, 15-minute, hourly, 4-hour, daily, more, and on any trading style, whether you're a positions trader, swing trader, scalper, day trader. Do me a favor. Tell me what type of trading style you like to trade. What is everybody's trading style? So we've got a lot of swing traders, day and swing. Depends on the day. Hey, I hear you. Depends on the market environment. The recent volatility of the last months have made a lot of people learn to get into the shorter time periods, be a little bit more nimble, not married to longer term positions. Anything that will make money, I hear that. Scalper, swing into scalp. Position trader is just somebody that's going to hold on for a much longer period of time. So think of maybe everybody's definition may vary, but swing trader, the way I view it, could be from a few days to maybe a couple of months. Position trader is going to be a multi-month, longer term hold, kind of buy and hold. So really nice mix there. That's cool. Point of that is that you've got to find out what your bread and butter is. And I found for me, based on my lifestyle, the time I can commit, is the 5-minute chart. I like the 5-minute on the S&P, NASDAQ, crude oil, currency futures, occasionally a 30-year bond. Also the 4-hour for currency futures and Forex markets and a handful of commodities. And then the daily for all markets, stocks, ETFs, futures, Forex. That's where I got started in my trading journey, is just learning to trade off end-of-day charts, doing my analysis at the end of the day, early morning, placing my trades, and then off to the workplace. So you've seen the proof. Let's look at some real trade examples. Not to say that what we've been viewing were fake examples, but let's look at some real trade examples that we've utilized in some of our services. All right, crude oil. So everybody's familiar with crude oil. Everybody loves to talk about crude, speculate on the prices, and is familiar with crude. It's one of the most widely traded markets in the world, whether you trade CL futures, USO, other leverage ETFs, or energy stocks. I'm gonna let you guys and gals read the charts over here on the right, and then I'm gonna look at the charts and work myself from left to right. So here we have a daily chart of crude oil. We have a number 1 point here. Why? It's a 52-week high. 1, 2, 3. It's a smaller 1, 2, 3 top nonetheless, but it's still valid. But we knew well in advance where our entry was, which on breaks or closes below the number 2. We know our risk was above the high of the 1, and and we knew our initial target was the distance between the high of the 1 and the low of the 2, measured down. In this example is about $3 or $3,000 per contract, and it met that in relatively short order. So then what happened? We went into sideways mode or consolidation. So some of you will ask, well, did you catch this move? This is a huge move. No, I didn't, because I'm looking for new highs or new lows on the daily chart. I'm not really interested in trading the range bound 1, 2, 3s, but if that's something you want to do, have at it. You can certainly do that. This was a nice move. Here we have a 1, 2, 3, breaks above, ends up trading higher into nice profits. But now we get a new number 1 high. This high is greater than that high. So we have a new 1, 2, 3 high. And let me tell you why I got really excited about this trade opportunity. One, because of the high probability technical pattern, which is the 1, 2, 3 top. Secondly, we are at a time of the year from a seasonal perspective that this is that crude and energy markets in general typically tend to move to the downside. So when we have those two things line up, that's what I like to call the perfect marriage in trading. So we got short this market. We had a 1, 2, 3 trend line break. We knew we had the seasonal confirmation. We got short this market. How? We shorted crude futures. We sold call spreads. We bought puts and put spreads, traded USO and other leverage ETFs. Met its $4 or $4,000 per contract price objective, and then traded lower. In fact, it traded down another $20,000 per contract. Now, we didn't catch that entire move, but we damn sure caught a large chunk of it. And all we did is follow the markets until we either got stopped out or we had a potential reversal pattern. Now, I want you to remember this chart and the subsequent charts because we're going to go back to them. I'm going to show you something really special here in a few moments. But the market traded lower. We have a potential 1, 2, 3 bottom here and a potential 1, 2, 3 bottom here. Now, this example right here is, I got really excited. Again, we have a high probability 1, 2, 3 bottom pattern. We have my second favorite pattern, which is a triangle, very clean, beautiful triangle. And third, we are now at a time of the year from a seasonal perspective where the market tends to go higher at this time of the year. This, in fact, is one of my top seasonal trades I have in my back pocket is to get long crude and energy markets at this time of the year. But what happened? Market broke to the downside and traded down another $10,000 per contract. So it kept my emotions in check, kept me from getting long, broke down, sold off another $10 a barrel or $10,000. And we finally had this last flush low here and a new number 1 bottom, 1, 2, 3, market breaks above the number 2, ends up moving $5 or $5,000 per contract. Let's talk about gold, another market that everybody's familiar with, everybody loves to talk about. They subscribe to all these expensive newsletters. Gold's going to go here, gold's going to go there. I say, who cares? Look at the chart, look at the price action, and let it help dictate to where it's likely headed. Now, this is GLD, the ETF that tracks gold futures. I like to use, personally, I like to use the, look at the futures charts first. It's going to be a lot cleaner, a lot more fluid. You're not going to see all these gaps, but nonetheless, you'll see the same pattern set up. So here we have a 1, 2, 3 top, market breaks below the number 2, gives you a couple of retests, breaks down, reaches $4 profit objective. Here we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom, also have a double bottom, breaks above the number 2, gives you a retest, meets its $2 profit objective. Now, just like the crude example, here's a fairly large 1, 2, 3 inside the range. Remember, I'm looking for new highs or new lows, but this is a nice 1, 2, 3 top inside the range, makes a huge move to the downside. But now we are making new lows. These lows are taking out these lows, so we're starting new counts. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Market gaps down, takes out this low. Finally get this last low here. 1, 2, 3. Gaps higher 2 days in a row. Can guarantee you didn't see that on a futures chart, but regardless, it's a gaps higher, comes back, retest, also get a trend line retest, and it moves up $4 and then more. And then here are a couple more examples. Delta Airlines, DAL, daily chart. Here's a long, Here's a short. This one actually gaps below the number 2. I don't particularly trade the gaps. I like to see the market retest or hook back down, but we do have students that will aggressively trade all these markets. So they're buying puts, selling stock. Here we have another opportunity to go short, 1, 2, 3. Market trades again, gaps down below the number, or didn't gap, but trades aggressively down below the number 2. Gives you a retest there, $8 plus, and then we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom. Trades higher, pulls back, ends up going $8 plus. Here's a 4-hour chart of the CAD Swissy for your Forex traders, Canadian dollar versus Swiss franc. Here we have a multi-session low, also double bottom, 1, 2, 3. Again, the aggressive traders would be looking to get long on breaks of the number 2, or if you wait for the retest or the hook back through, you're filled on your 70 pip profit objective. And now we're just looking for 1, 2, 3 tops. 1, 2, nope. 1, 2, nope. 1, 2, nope. 1, 2, nope. 1, 2, 3. Finally get a 1, 2, 3 here. A smaller one reaches its 40 pip profit objective. I get asked all the time, does it work on intraday markets? The answer is absolutely. Here's a 5-minute chart of the NASDAQ. Here we have a few trade examples. 1, 2, 3. Market breaks above, hooks back above, reaches 13-point profit objective. We have a new number 1 high. This is a new session high. 1, 2, 3. Market breaks below the number 2, trades sideways, gives us a little heartburn. Finally breaks down here in the last hour of the day, reaches our profit objective, which also makes a new number 1 low. 1, 2, 3. Market breaks above the number 2, gives you a small retest. If you're lucky enough to get filled on that retest here, you're filled on your 30-point profit objective in about 2 bars. All right, so why are you here? You're here to learn my mechanical done-for-you strategy for all markets and all time frames. This is the part of the presentation where I ask you, do you have enough proof, or have I fulfilled my promise? I'm gonna take a swig of water here. Have I fulfilled my promise to you up to this point? And Chris, I'll answer your questions. Malin, I answer your questions too. All right, so I appreciate that. Everybody's pretty much said yes. No no's yet. If you want to type no, you just feel the need to type no, but please tell me why so I can try and improve. I don't know how to break this down even simpler, but if I can, I'll certainly be glad to. So is that enough proof? But wait, there's more. You know there's more. You know it was coming. Usually when the person says, but wait, there's more, it usually doesn't end up being a good thing for that individual, but I can promise you in this case it will. What if the strategy was automated? What if the strategy was plotted onto your chart for you? What if the trigger entry and the target were drawn for you? And what if your platform could scan the markets for you and tell you when there is a pending setup? I don't know about you, but I would think that'd be amazing. And I hope you remember the charts we just went through. It was just a few minutes ago. Remember I told you to remember these charts. We're going to come back to them. Well, here you go. Here is the same chart example that we just looked at on crude oil. This is the exact same chart we just looked at, but with the 1, 2, 3 plotted onto your chart. So you're smart people. You probably already figured this out, but let's talk about what all these arrows and colors mean. The green arrow is your number 1. The red arrow is your number 2. The blue arrow is your number 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, what about this white chevron or this sell signal? That's not a sell signal. It's not a buy signal. This is just a visual aid kind of waving at you saying, hey, we have broken or penetrated the number 2 area, or we broken or penetrated the number 2 area to the upside. That's why it's pointing down. So this is the bar that broke below the number 2. This is the bar that broke above the number 2. Again, not a buy or sell signal. So if and only if we get a break of that number 2, you're going to get this chevron signal print. And if and only if that happens, you're going to get these 4 beautiful lines plot onto your chart. What do these lines mean? The blue line is your breakout level or your entry level. Your red line is your stop or risk level. Your lime green line is what I call TP1 or profit objective 1, and your dark green line is TP2 or profit objective 2. So the green line, the lime green line or TP1, if you recall, is the distance between the high of the 1 and measured in below the 2 measured down. And your dark green line is simply 2 times the distance of TP1. So here's that example on gold. Here's the long setup. Here's the second long setup. Remember, it doesn't capture this right here because of the settings. Depending on your settings, remember, I'm only looking for new highs or new lows. So it does not capture that trade. Here's the delta example. There's a long, there's a short, there's a short, there's the long. And here's the 5-minute NASDAQ future example. 1, 2, 3, where you break down below the number 2. We hug it just for a few bars. Breakdown hits TP1, hits TP2 to the tick. TP2 happened to be a new session low. So we get a new number 1 count. 1, 2, 3. Market breaks above the number 2 or hooks back above, hits TP1. Doesn't quite hit TP2, but good enough for government work there. And we trade sideways. Shouldn't have lost money on the trade. Here we have a new session low. This low is lower than that low, hence a new number 1 point. Here we have a 1, 2, 3. Market just nips its head there above the number 2. Market trades above, hooks back above, hits TP1. And as we're searching for TP2, notice that we're getting new green arrows. This is saying, hey, we're making new session highs. We're in the process of forming a potential 1, 2, 3 top. So that clues us in that, hey, we might need to get ready to reverse the market. Here we have a 1, 2, 3. Market breaks below the number 2. Breaks down, gives you a retest or hooks back down, hits TP1, TP2. And you can see we're looking for a new 1, 2, 3 bottom there at the last part of the day. So is this training for you? Only you and you only can answer that. If you're new to the markets and want to jumpstart your success, if you're an experienced trader and want to add another arrow to your trading quiver, if you're tired of all the noise we talked about, the indicator overload, paralysis analysis, if you just want to simplify your process and add a new strategy to your trading, or if you want a very specific step-by-step mechanical plan that you can even do part-time, this could be something for you. So I like to tell a short story here about how this came to light. When I had this built out, I brought my wife down to my office who teaches ballet part-time. I brought my 2 girls down to my office who were like 4 and 5 at the time. Trust me, they don't know a flying flip about the markets, but I showed them what I was showing you or attempting to build. I said, take a look at this. After they calmed down about the candles and the lines and the colors and all this, I told them what I was trying to do with this pattern, this indicator. And after some time, they got it. They understood it. So my point is if they can understand it, then you certainly can too. I mean, we don't really remember, or I don't remember learning how to count to 3 or learning my primary colors, but that's about all you need to know with a dash of common sense. So I do have a special offer for today's workshop attendees. It's limited to the first 25 people because I am a human being. I actually monitor my own inbox. I actually chat with my community, my students, my members. I do have a support team, but I do value your feedback and comments. So time is only available so much. So here's the offer. It's called 3S Code High-Low Indicator and Scanner. We built this for Thinkorswim, TradeStation, NinjaTrader 8, TradingView, and MT4. Also going to include chart pattern principle, PDF manual, and trading guide, chart pattern cheat sheet, 25 top option strategy guide, VIP email support, and access to our private Discord channel that we just launched a few weeks ago. So what the heck is the 3S Code High-Low Indicator and Scanner, you ask? Well, let me refresh your memory. This is the 3S code, 3S code plotted onto your chart. Here's a daily chart of CRE. You see we have a short, and then a long. Here's a daily chart of BAC or Bank of America. Here we have a long, and then a long. Here's a daily chart of LOVE, LUV, Southwest. Here we have a short, hits TP1 to the tick. Here we have another short. Whoops, bad trade. This is a loser. We get stopped out. Have another chance to short the market here. And then why do all the work when you can let technology do the work for you? This is a screenshot of my Thinkorswim platform where I'm scanning the markets, looking for 1, 2, 3 tops and the Russell 1000, only stocks that have options on them, $20 a share or greater. I hit the green scan button and voila, what would take months to deliver now happens at the push of a button. I've also got a monitor dedicated to watch lists. Here's a screenshot of some watch lists where I'm scanning multiple markets and multiple time frames all at the same time, and you have the ability to do the same. We've been looking at Thinkorswim. This is what it looks like on TradeStation. Here's your indicator component. Here's your scanning component. Here's what it looks like on NT8. Here's your indicator component. Here's your scanning component. Here's what it looks like on TradingView, 4-hour chart of Apple. Here's your long and then a long. And then what it looks like on MT4, your 4-hour chart of the Euro Kiwi. There's a long, short, and then a long. So full disclaimer, there is no scanning component on MT4 or TradingView. It just simply doesn't exist. If you know a Russian programmer out there, please introduce them to me. But we work with very, very competent programmers who have done a lot of work for us across multiple platforms and strategies, and it just doesn't exist in those two platforms. But it does exist on TradeStation, Thinkorswim, and NinjaTrader 8. So we know that there's no real crystal ball in the markets, but I like to view this as one that provides me with one for a daily process. I'm letting the platform and the technology scan the markets for me, locate the setup. I go to my trading platform for entry, and then I manage the trade through exit. And you can start doing so today with the 3S code. So here is the offers: 3S code high-low indicator scanner for Thinkorswim, TradeStation, NinjaTrader 8, TradingView, and MT4. Chart pattern principle PDF manual and trading guide. Chart pattern cheat sheet. 25 top option strategy guide. VIP email support and access to our private Discord channel. Now, we've recently offered this on the internet at these prices. No joke, $19.97, $14.97, and $9.97. But for today's live webinar special, we're pleased to offer this for a one-time fee of $397. It's a one-time fee. You own it for life. There's no hidden renewals, no monthly auto billing, no shenanigans. It's a one-time fee of $397. The offer link is seasonalswingtrader.com/code. I'm going to put that into the chat box for you. I see lots of questions and comments. I'm going to go back and answer all of them. Let's talk about what the indicator and scanner includes. Let's talk about the bonuses, and then we'll take a look at your symbols and answer your questions. All right. So the indicator and scanner, again, includes a visual plot of the 1, 2, 3 top and bottom reversal areas, entry, exit, stop, target levels, customizable settings, multiple look back periods. You can scan for setups only, trigger only, scan for tops, bottoms, or both, scan for intraday setups, as well as swing setups across all instruments. So if you don't like red, you want hot magenta, you can change that. If you don't want arrows and want dots, you can change that. If you want to scan for setups only, meaning those that are in the process of setting up, or trigger only, meaning those that have broken that number 2 area, or both, you can do that. You can scan for tops or bottoms of both. We've made multiple enhancements to the indicator and scanner over time and didn't charge a single red cent. And if there's any other updates that are needed, we will not charge you for that either. You get that complimentary. Bonus 1, 90+ page PDF manual, chart pattern principle, trading manual and guide. It's yours to own. You can download it to your desktop. You can print it out, use it for firewood. I don't really care, but you're going to learn how to read charts, how to identify trend, range markets, additional strategies, including seasonal trends, commitment of traders, and other order types. Bonus 2, 25 top option strategy guide, literally strategies for all account sizes and types. If you're just learning to trade basic calls and puts to more intermediate and advanced, such as condors, verticals, butterflies, diagonals, and more. And then bonus 3 is access to our private Discord channel. This is a channel that we just set up. It's not a trade room. I don't know if you want to call it a chat room or whatever, but it's a hub that everybody can come into, and I'll show you an example here at the end of the presentation, where we've got channels for stocks, futures, forex, swing trade, intraday, and it's just a hub where everybody can come in at their leisure. It's around 24/7. Post ideas, post your analysis, what you're looking at, what's working, what's not, and basically just to look at setups together, because there are more setups than us as humans can possibly watch. If I could watch all markets and time frames 24/7, I would love to do that. I love the markets, but fact is we miss a lot of trades because we get busy doing other things. So it's something where others can post ideas. These are some unsolicited testimonials that come in. They come in to me all the time. I don't ask for them. I'm very humbled and pleased, but most importantly, I'm happy to see that people are taking action with the 3S code. Here's an example of one of our alert services that we sent out using, these are trades that were triggered or based off the 3S codes here: crude, unleaded, pound, euro, nat gas. And then I do eat what I cook. These are screenshots of my real accounts here at Thinkorswim, where I do my equity options trading, and my futures account here where I've got crude options, cotton options, copper options, yen options, nat gas options in the S&P, and then finally just a nice, easy, clean 2-point trade example in the E-mini S&P. So let me look at your questions. Here's the offer one more time: seasonalswingtrader.com/code. $397, one-time fee. You own it. And let me scroll up and get caught up here. Yes, absolutely. We'll help you get set up. We don't leave you hanging. We don't throw you to the wolves. We take great pride in helping everybody get set up. And my support guy can even log into your computer and do a remote session where he can help you install. But honestly, if you're able to turn your computer on at the beginning of the day, you should have no problems, be up and running in 4 or 5 minutes. But I do understand sometimes we run into tech issues. I'm no tech guru, no tech wizard. We're happy to help. See here. Yeah, Mike, I'll be looking for you. Support at seasonalswingtrader.com is the support box. All right, Malin, let's see. Megan said I was talking too fast. Don't understand what the red and pink lines are. That's your initial risk or your stop level. And again, you could change the color if you wish. Yeah, you can trade leaps if you wish. Rabindra, you know something that works. I can pay with this. Chris, it works, or I wouldn't be here. Been using this setup, this strategy, this pattern for almost 15 years now. Do I trade in the money options only? Not necessarily. It depends on the setup. I do absolutely trade options using this setup, this 3S code. So especially on futures as well as equities. I primarily like credit spreads. So just selling put spreads, selling call spreads for income. Depending on the situation and my viewpoint, implied volatility, things like that, I will be a call buyer, an outright call buyer, or an outright put buyer. Again, just depending on the situation and my time frame. Let's see, Chet, more information on how to develop the 1, 2, 3 strategy. How can I help? So like you say, it's very confusing, and that's fine. But let's what we'll do, and I want to get to all the other questions before we start looking at charts. And I hope that by looking at some charts, it may help clear things up for you. Yes, in the members area, there are certainly guides on how to install for every platform, video guides on how to install. We've also got little PDF guides that say for how to use it for day trading, how to use it for swing trading, customizing the indicator, setting up scans, things like that. But Chad, I'll get back to you there on and see if we can help you identify these setups and what they mean. Yeah, we'll look at let's look at the members area. I'm using TradeStation. It seems that no one can help me with entry. I'm willing to share my screen. What do you mean no one can help you with entry? You talking about TradeStation support or our support? Not sure. All right, so this is what it looks like in the members area once you're logged in. Here's info on how to get access to Discord. And here are the additional resources that we talked about. Customized indicator, day trade, swing trading. Here's your bonus materials as well as unannounced bonuses. Here are the download or the installation instructions here for Thinkorswim. I also made a short little video here on the seasonality widget in Thinkorswim. It's not mandatory, not a requirement. It's just something helpful that may be helpful for you. It is helpful for me to trade alongside the 3S. TradeStation, here's V10, V95, NinjaTrader 8, and TradingView, remember indicator only, and MT4. So yeah, you do not have to, Pete, you do not have to select what platform you use. You get access to all platforms. You get access to all platforms. We don't limit your licenses or anything like that. Donovan, there are no monthly fees, no annual fees. It's a one-time purchase. Binder, we don't really try to provide trade recommendations. We just post our ideas. So if you can see here, we've got just people providing some feedback here, charts, including myself, intraday charts, potential setups here, scan. Oops, I didn't. So we've got intraday, swing, stocks, futures, forex. This was, I believe, this was last week here. We had that 30-cent crude post. Like I popped that in, watching for a short in crude in 5 minutes. And you can see it came down, hit it, and then we're flipping to the long side. So these are the kinds of things that we post in here. We do not send out alerts. Your platform, depending on which platform it is, can trigger alerts to your desktop, possibly even email them to you. You just have to check with your platform provider. Like I've got a PC where I've got solely Thinkorswim running, and multiple watch lists and charts, and so I get an audible alert when something has triggered, but also have the real-time scans, so I can see all my watch lists and scans of markets that are forming. Let's see here. Yeah, so I've got accounts with all of these groups here: Thinkorswim, TradeStation, NinjaTrader 8, TradingView, and MT4. Don't really use TradeStation. Don't really use NT8. I'm starting to use NT8 a little bit more with some new back testing and optimization program we built out for the 3S code. But I've got Thinkorswim, TradingView, and MT4 running all day, every day. Thinkorswim, love the charting. TradingView, love the platform. It's nice and clean. Can't really use it for execution, but very mobile friendly, very mobile based friendly, if you will. And then MT4 I like as well. All right, RD, appreciate it. Support at seasonalswingtrader.com. Yeah, you should receive a welcome email almost immediately. If not, maybe allow a couple minutes or so. Shouldn't be in your junk folder though. If you have any problems or didn't get didn't get the welcome email. Hey, so what's next? Well, you'll get your welcome email. You'll have the login information. Log in and you'll see exactly what I just showed you here. You get access to all of your resources and download material. Oh, okay. I see. I see, Chris. Other companies not no TradeStation. Yeah, I used TradeStation a long time ago. It's one of the first accounts that I opened with in platforms, and I would say I was fairly proficient at it then. But honestly, I just do not. If you had hired me to be support for them, I would fail miserably. So it's probably good that you are familiar with that platform, but it's probably like everything else, you know, some Thinkorswim may be confusing for some, while it's pretty easy for me. Can it run for existing watch list? Yeah, absolutely. So you can set your own watch list. I have a custom watch list, and like here's one that I have. So like I've got this one just called commodities. And I actually have Forex in here as well, but this is custom. And you know, if you have your own, you know, John Doe watch list or weekly top 10 or whatever you know, my IRA holdings, whatever it might be, you can run a scan against that, and it will, you know, depending on what time frame you set, the parameters you set it for, you can run scans against that. All right, let me bring a chart over here. You start taking a look at some of your symbols. Nathan, you absolutely can. You can have it on multiple platforms. Yep, I've got it running. Like I said, I've got MT4, TradingView, TOS, all simultaneously. RB, I'll check your order when the event is over. I don't have access to that right now. It is, Lance. I'm not sure when it'll be available. Just, you know, I'm not sure if it'll even process because of technology, but we are absolutely. Romeo, it is MT4 compatible, not MT5, MT4. Does it work with tick charts? Yes, it does. I don't day trade stocks, but I do know people that trade the FANGs and SPY and things like that. Actually, I've obviously heard of tick charts before, but I wasn't really interested in them until I had a member just really, just hounded me in a good way, saying, man, you've got to take a look at the 233 tick chart on crude, S&P. I kind of, you know, I was like, oh, you know, I will, and never really put much emphasis into it. And I started looking at it, his results, and it's absolutely amazing. 233 tick chart on crude oil. And S&P to scout, really crude oil seems awesome, and I haven't done it on the SPY yet, but yeah, we can take a look for sure. Milton, I think I just answered that, and I apologize because I'm just getting, you know, I'm just kind of running down the list here. It does work on tick charts. How does the software work? Need to show more on how the software works. Well, the software plots 1, 2, 3s. Now, pretty much out of the box, it's good. You're gonna see what I'm seeing. So what I see is what you see. What you see is what I see out of the box, unless you start, you know, manipulating the settings, changing the parameters and variables like that, which you have full ability to do. So here, let's look at the bottom. And what out of the box, these are out of the box settings. Now you can change, you know, if you want to see a minimum number of bars between the 1 and 2, so maybe you want to see 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars. I generally like to see more bars between the 1 and the 2, but I left this at 1 because I want to see every setup forming. So I might have a setup trigger, even if it's only 1 bar. I may take the trade, I may not. I don't take every trade. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trade setups every day, depending on the market you're looking at, or the markets and the time frames. Now, I want to be alerted even if this triggers just with these parameters set at pretty much the bare minimum. And then I will go in and do my own analysis. I did say that your chart will look like mine. I think maybe the custom look back period is set to no or false. So you may want to check that to yes or true, depending on what you're using. But here's the custom look back period that we're talking about. Here's where you can change all of these colors and lines and things like that, just kind of for your own visual preference. But these, your trade setups and or results may differ depending on your settings, right? Because while I may have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, you may have 4, 8, 15, 100, so that's where that comes into play. So how does the software work? The software is looking for new lows and new highs, or on an intraday chart, new session lows or session highs. Now, again, depending on your settings, how are those highs or lows determined? Well, it's all dependent on your settings. My look back is going on 126 bars here on the daily chart. If you set yours to 50, you're gonna have a lot more opportunities or trade ideas pop up on your screen because you're only looking back fit for new lows or highs on a 50 bar basis. So based on my settings, we found a new low, and these green arrows are telling me new lows, new lows, new lows, and ignore the turquoise lines and all that. Those are just price levels that I drew on another chart. So we have a 1, 2, 3. Notice that it's a 1 bar, and ignore this big green, dark green arrow. That's something else. So here we have a 1, 2, 3. Notice we only have 1 bar between. So if you want to have 2 bars, 3 bars, you wouldn't have necessarily gotten that until you had 2, 3 or more bars. So once price trades above the number 2, that's when you're going to get the chevron, and that's when you're going to get your lines print. Okay. I don't know, Chad, if that helps at all. So when it does trigger and these lines print, it's just you're getting this visual here. This is take profit 1, it's the distance between the low and the high measured up, and then TP2 is 2 times TP2 or TP1. It does work on we'll work on any chart types. Renko, Ikanashi. No, you do not need a seasonal indicator with this. That was just right in here. This is just it's just a free seasonality widget. There's probably seasonality plugins for some of the other platforms. Okay, but it's all about the user. I don't use seasonality in intraday trading. I like to use it in my swing trading, but sometimes I'll use it, sometimes I don't. Let's see. Do you need to be on all hours for the futures? Do you mean the settings or me personally? Ched does not work with TD Ameritrade. Well, let me take that back. I'm sorry. It does work with the TD Ameritrade owned Thinkorswim platform. So the data and all that is not really involved. You're going to get the data with whatever platform you're using, whether it comes with that or not. That's dependent on your own provider. All right, Vic, you should check that. Maybe check your spam or junk. It should not be in there, but it does happen occasionally if you've got some filters set up. But I'll hook you up after the presentation is over. Make sure you're all set up, ready to go. How do you sign up for the Discord channel? Once you're inside the members area, I think it's right here at the top. Here, your download, user guide, and then overview. You don't have to download it. I don't think you can. It's web-based, so you can access it via the web. There's just a link to access, and it will populate populate your channels. we trade with stop order just below above that white line? Which white line are you referring to? I don't see a white line. You can put your stop order whatever fits your risk tolerance or your trading style. This is just the initial stop area. More often than not, you're going to have an opportunity to quickly move or adjust your stops. But it's very important to allow the market to, or the trade set to start to materialize in its anticipated direction. Doesn't it's not 100% of the time it's going to do that, but more often than not, it will do that. Yeah, let's look at the S&P. So here are the setups on the S&P. Here was the last signal that I showed you on one of the previous slides here. That was the textbook short example right here. 1, 2, 3 down below the 200-day moving average. We get a couple retests. It's TP1. This actually happens to be the 2018 lows, which were huge lows. And just to show you, I love it. I love it when this happens because it's not by coincidence. Notice that TP1 was right in line with the 2018 lows. I love to see that confluence there. Then we were able to flip around. This is all that volatility back in March. 1, 2, 3. We're back above the short-term moving averages. We get a break and close above the number 2. And then we told members that, hey, this 200-day moving average, this is the purple line. You don't have to trade with the 200-day moving average. I like to put it on there as a reference point, but you can remove all those for completely naked charts. But you should know, use part of the common sense factor, hey, this 200-day might be a problem. And it was a problem. It was a problem for quite some time. We bumped, rejected, bumped, rejected, bumped, rejected. Finally kind of got through here with a little bit of jostling around. And then of course, today's action, we busted through. It looks like we're going to hit TP target of about, was that 30.93. Yeah, today's 5-minute chart. So here's today's 5-minute chart. You see we're in the process of potential 1, 2, 3 bottom in the Asian session. There's a CL 5-minute crude futures. So a couple different couple trade opportunities here. Short from 34.15 down to 33 double nickel. And then potential long here at the 80 up to 34.20. Note, look how it reacts at the TP1 level. I mean, it pretty much traded down, rejected, pretty much traded up, rejected. Apple. All right, Vic, get back to you. Let's see. So this is an intro to as a 5-minute Apple chart. Let's go to daily. Chet, did that help answer any of your questions on how the software works? I don't know if I answered you or not, but here's a short example on Apple. Here's a long example on Apple. Software is just scanning for new highs, new lows based on your settings, based on whatever time frame you're looking at. I'm looking for 1, 2, 3 tops and bottoms. ExxonMobil. So didn't quite hit TP1 there at 49.30, but decent trades. Dow, yeah. Actually, one of our students brought this up in our Discord channel today. A lot of markets gapped up above the number 2 due to the gap up in the Globex session. PFE. Okay, so won't be really looking for a new top till we take out these highs up here. So we start getting new highs. We'll start a new 1, 2, 3 top count. Las Vegas Sands. Yeah, so basically in a 1, 2, 3 long, target is up here at 60.45, but I would be be cautious to see how we we get up to 56. That's when we be moving stops up. Corn, yeah, corn actually a trade we just got out of last week heading into the holidays. So in July corn, yeah, actually go to the continuous contract. So here's July corn. I don't want to be short this market right now, but we haven't quite got the confirmation you need. As I said, I'd like to see the break and close above number 2, and then the target's up here at 347. You should be able to get the same thing in the ETF corn. So it hasn't really triggered. So 12.15. What's that? 11. I mean, it's not even $1 of risk there, but you would have the same thing going on there. Yeah, beans as well. Focusing on the long side. We're not long beans. We were long 3 grain markets, so we were wanting to get a little bit better activity on soybeans. Sony. No, the arrows are not repainted. Nothing repaints. Euro yen. All right, there is euro yen. We're currently in a long. I like this because the 200-day is kind of sloping down to that TP1 that often will serve as a nice little magnet there. You heard me talk about the pound. I can show that. Yeah, you must have. We did talk about pound Aussie. Yeah, pound Aussie just basically met its daily profit objective, 184.50, 95. Pretty large pip count there. So this is not a. So if you wouldn't trade, you wouldn't this as your stop. This is basically almost the entry. It's not really the entry. It's just showing you that the number that this bar broke below the number 2, and it only has to break by say a tick, or could break by 50 ticks. That's not to be used as a stop, if that makes sense. ES 10 minutes. Let's see, there's 10 minutes. All right, so here is your 10-minute trade. Let's see, going back to today. So we had, depending on how you enter the markets, may have had a losing trade there, and then ended up having a winning trade there in the afternoon session. Play the market action mostly up and down, an overnight session mostly sideways during the day. How does software deal with gaps? It will take into account the gaps. Like we saw on that Delta Airlines, there were a couple. There's a lot of markets that gap through or gapped up today. So if we were to gap up, you can see that it happened here as well. So if prices gap up above the number 2, you're still breaking the number 2, whether it's a gap or just trading right through it in a nice manner. It's going to print. These to me are more high risk because I don't really prefer to chase the market. I'd rather for the market to come back down, fill the gap, confirm the retest, and then jump on board that it does want to hold. If market gap's way higher, or in this case, almost 50% to our profit objective, that's not something that I'm gonna necessarily chase. We could certainly keep banging on up here and meeting our profit objective, I'm not worried about missing out on that because there's a lot of other markets and time frames. All right, you're welcome, guys. Yeah. Why don't we number the 3 arrows? I don't know if we can. I will look into it. I'll look and see if that's an option to put like numerics there. I have a feeling that it wasn't available or wasn't an option, but that's your 1, 2, 3. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate your time. And we'll wrap this up. It's been my pleasure, fun experience. I love doing this presentation, talking about these markets, looking at these setups. Truly is my bread and butter. I use it all day, every day, and don't see any reason not to continue. I, like most of you, I kind of kicked it to the curb at some point in my early days, chasing the Holy Grail, looking for shiny objects. And I went back and said, well, what am I doing? Like I was working, I was making a lot of money. Why am I loading up my charts with all this other crap? And that's where it is. That's where it stands today. If you have any questions I didn't answer or I missed, or if you think of something later tonight, I'll get back to you either this evening or tomorrow. You can email me at support@seasonalswingtrader.com. I'll personally answer you, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you, having our Discord channel and just trying to help each other out and see lots of good trades around the corner. Oh, that does remind me, I did want to show you a couple of trades. So we are actually short W right now, but this is a potential $50 trade. So we have not broken below the number 2 right here. We'll call it 150. So we have a 1, 2, 3. This is, we'll call this 200. This high is $200. This is $50. We start breaking down. You would break and close below the 150 or the number 2. That'll be a short. Remember, the target is the distance between the high and the low, or $50. So we measure from 150 down to 100. And look at where $100 takes you. Takes you right here into this area. This whole area of confluence, past resistance, now becomes support. Also the 200-day, I like that trade. We are also short in one of our other services, stamps.com. We kind of got in a little bit early. I think the $195, but we're just now getting confirmation here. And targets are down here at 155, which puts us right here into this zone. So I like that. Let's see what else on the futures front. I'm looking at July hogs for potential long there based on a little bit of seasonality and the 3S code. So there you have it. If you have any questions, email me at support@seasonalswingtrader. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening. Everybody take care, stay safe out there. Look forward to working with all the new members. Enjoy your time, and thank you for your time. And we'll see you on the flip side. Take care.